in the election in the light of their track records, wealth of experiences, and anticipated ability to deliver the dividends of democracy to the people of Edo State if elected.
Thank you, guys. And once again, my sincere apologies. This is almost an hour, 30 minutes late from schedule. And I'm happy that we are having this session to discuss the Edo State global election and the chances of the candidates. To be very honest and sincere with you, this Edo election, if we are to be very sincere and honest ourselves without painting words, is actually an election between Olumide Akpata and Aswa Iodalo. And very, 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 very interesting is that both of them are exciting candidates in their own right. As an investment banking executive that I've had a massive tour of duty across the investment banking sector of Nigeria, over 2 decade experience, I've had privileges and opportunities of encountering both gentlemen. Halfway is of the popular Banwo and Iwodalo, one of the top corporate solicitors in Nigeria. Olumide Akpata is one of the best in the industry, another corporate attorney of the Templars firm. And these 2 gentlemen represent some of the finest legal luminaries in terms of those who understand the economy, who understand what it takes to build up, an economy of a state, both in terms of management, in terms of governance, in terms of structuring, in terms of financing, in terms of harnessing the factors of production in their states. But the advantage of Olumide Akpata over Aswe is not in terms of competencies or qualification. Because I can say that both of them in their own rights are more than qualified to be governors of Edo State. But the only advantage that Olumide has, Olumide is his own man. Olumide's emergence or how he secured the ticket of the Labour Party shows a man who is not beholden to any godfather, shows a man who is not beholden to anybody that will hold him to ransom. You see what is happening in Rivers State. You see what is happening in Kano State. You see what is happening in other states in Nigeria, where some men who assume themselves to be King God would not allow their governors to breathe. And of course, because they help them to win primary election, practically help them to finance their campaign, practically selected those that will run the state against having the governors operate independently to select to appoint those who have the capacities, the competencies, and integrity to help them actualize their visions and their dreams for their states. In terms of qualification, I can tell you Aswe and the Olumide ranks very, very high. In terms of competence and capacities, I can tell you both of them are on the same pedestal. But in terms of independence, in terms of ability to serve Edo people and serve them selflessly without beholden to any party or group of persons, I think Olumide Akpata stands shoulder and head taller than all the candidates in the field. And he has also demonstrated strength of character. It's not just enough to say, I want to be the governor. I want to serve the people. Your antecedents, your records in the past, during your tour of duty, in one way or the other, will show clearly if you have what it takes. Olumide has shown he was one of the brightest and smartest and most courageous MBA presidents Nigeria have seen over the last 2 decades. His tenure was properly felt. He served the people, he served the masses. Most of the lawyers, I come from a family of very top lawyers. I'm one of the very few who refuse to toe the legal line. I have brothers, sisters, cousins who are erudite professors of law, some of the smartest and brightest in the industry. And every one of them are unanimous in saying that Olumide represents one of the best faces that have graced the position as the Nigerian Bar Association president. They talk highly of him. He is well respected. is the kind of governor that is actually qualified to be president. So without missing word, if Edo people sincerely want the best for themselves, if Edo people truly desire to have competence, capacity, integrity, independence of mind, and the purpose, somebody that will use their resources to serve Edo people and not to satisfy the whims and caprices of dotted line political godfathers, I think they should come out overwhelmingly to vote for Olumide Akpata. I so submit is my verdict.
Thank you very much, sir. I was when you were speaking, but I guess you didn't hear me. I was going to crave your indulgence to please turn on your video, because this is a television program and it's being streamed live. I don't know if that is convenient for you.
Yes, of course.
Yes. That's fine. Thank you very much. It's okay. That's fine. Thank you very much, sir, for obliging. Now, going forward, you mentioned the issue of godfatherism, and I want to quickly draw your attention to the executive power of the governor or the officer in charge at a particular time. And want to ask your views. Do you think godfatherism should actually be a factor? Do you think it's something that works, knowing that when you are on the seat and with your executive power, you can actually handle that? Then besides that, I want to also ask, if you have followed the political tempo in Edo State, you would have noted that there's a lot of fracas in the Labour Party. And if we want to say, okay, Olumide Akpata should be the person that should be the choice of the people, a lot of people are concerned about his inability to actually reconcile the factions in the party, in the state, to his favor, considering that he is the person on the ballot and he should have actually done everything to put these people together. And that seems to be a test of his ability to actually govern the people generally, if it becomes a governor, because at that point he will be dealing with people from different political parties and not just his own political parties. So what is your view on that, sir?
Okay, let me take the first one. You talked about the powers of the executive governor. Yes, the governor has executive power, and we wield it. But the issue of godfatherism is there. I don't think with the current state of Edo State that the Edo people will be excited to begin to experience the kind of fight that we are having in Rivers State now. Governance is suffering. The people are suffering because the incumbent governor and his godfather are devising all manner of tricks to see how they can outdo each other. And where there is such fracas, and where there is such divisions and the fight, it is the people that will suffer. Where two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that will suffer. I don't think, if Edo State had not had the opportunity of having somebody of Olumide's caliber on the ballot, we would have said, okay, let them thumb their nose, and then, of course, Aswe will be executive governor. He will wield his power. But also, don't forget the fact that there is an executive governor that has been there for 8 years, who is practically railroading him to become the governor of Edo State. So, is there any need for you to engage in entertain such fight that will likely going to happen when you have somebody who does not have anything, any albatross or anything that will result into such fracas? Now, you mentioned the issue of the issue that is happening in Labour Party. See, let us face fact. We are in Nigeria. There is no division in Labour Party in Edo State. What you see practically are external factors. They trying to see how they can derail the campaign train and the upswing moves of Olumide Akpata in Edo State. See, we are in a country where somebody claims to be a member of the PDP, single-handedly installed executive of PDP, and yet he's a cabinet minister of the APC. And you saw what happened in Edo State. The governor of Rivers State came to campaign for Edo, for the Aswe, a man that is supposed to be the PDP chieftain, who ran on the PDP and to become president under the PDP, who practically hijacked the structure of the PDP in his state, is campaigning for the. So these are the kind of things that we look at and we laugh at when people say there is a division or there is fight in Edo Labour Party. There's no fight. What we see here are disgruntled men who are being used as agents of this. I know, and it's very unfortunate. Sometimes I ask myself this question: how can a full-grown man allow himself and lend himself to be an agent that would truncate or that would disturb the peace of his state, or that would deny his state the opportunity of having a governor who is independent-minded and who has capacity and competencies to deliver the goods? Sincerely speaking, if there was provision for independent candidacy, most people will not even run on any political platform. What I've practically come to discover is that PDP, APC, APGA, Labour Party, in terms of those who run those parties, they are all the same. They're after what they will eat, they're after what they will drink, they're after what they will extort. You will be shocked that if a chairman of Party A, if he's offered some good whiff of dollar, can destroy his own party. That is how selfish most of these party officials are. I'm being honest with you. If there are constitutional provisions, regulatory provisions for people to run independently, I will bet you in 2027, you will see that 60% of those who will not run on any political platform. What I've come to discover, but I've been on the ballot many times. I've contested in 2015, I ran in 2019, even in 2023. I have seen the political parties, APGA, PDP, Labour Party, APC, as far as the political party officials are concerned, from chairman to secretary, all of them are the same. They just see the political party platform as an opportunity and avenue to extort from people. Wherever they see any highest bidder, they will go there. So what you see as a fight in Labour Party in Edo State is not any fight. It's just a case of some people who are trying to leverage on their position in diverse offices in the party, who had been settled and they bought over to create distractions for Olumide Akpata. And I think it's not working because people are very, very focused. And I can tell anybody who can, if there is any state where we have sophisticated voters, if there are any state where nobody will do anyhow or show anyhow, it's Edo State. Edo people will do what is right.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Now, let me also ask your views on the recent developments in the last few days. We had this committee coming to Edo State to want to firm up arrangements for the elections, but the ensuing developments, the People Democratic Party and the APC, as of today, have refused to sign the peace agreements. What do you think are the implications of this? One, the electorate, and two, for the election itself. What are your views, sir?
My view is very simple. As long as the security agencies and agents are able to do their job without compromise, without let or hindrance, whether they sign the peace agreement or not, they will be able to enforce the law. And I'm using the opportunity to also appeal to those who are going to man several positions in terms of conducting free, credible, and fair election in Edo State. And I will always say this, with whatever platform I find myself, I always say this. Those that are going to serve as INEC officials, from the state returning officer to the local government returning officers, to the ward collation officers, to the polling unit agents, officers, I want to appeal to, even to the police, the army, the DSS, those that will work. I want them to understand that Nigeria is divided into two. Those I call the political bandits, those who currently control offices and power across the three tiers and arms of government. They are just less than 0.001% of Nigerians. And they are the ones who do not want Nigeria to get better. And I want to say to those who are going to be conducting this election, the police, the army, they all belong to the other second class, the class of Nigerians who are oppressed. And the only way Nigeria will be redeemed from oppression, where we will have equal opportunity for everybody, is from when we begin to elect credible, capable men to do the right jobs. If you collect dollar now to write election results, if you collect dollar now, highest they will give to you as a police officer, maybe $1,000, $500, and you allow them to get election, that money go finish. And when that money finish, hunger go set. And when hunger set, you will realize that that money will not be enough to pay your children's school fees. It will not be enough to take care of things when the chips are down. For those who are going to be conducting an election, let your conscience guide you. Do the right thing. When elections are credible, free, and fair, there will be no violence. When people are allowed to vote their choice, when the elections are voted and counted and transmitted to the IRF without anybody playing games, there will be peace. When people come to induce you with money, the money that are coming to induce you are looted money. If you are too hungry, you can't resist them, collect the money, still vote your conscience. We saw it happen in Anambra during the last election. A woman was offered 15,000. She rejected it. An old woman, she voted her conscience. I say it, none of us can afford for Nigeria to continue at this level, at the way it is going. There is this much emphasis on Abuja. And I say to anybody who cares to listen, if we have 24 governors in Nigeria who are competent, who are honest, who are creative, who are thinking, who wants to do the right thing, I can tell you they can bend everybody to follow suit. Because 24 governors control practically those who come from the National Assembly. They can direct what they will do or what they will not do. And that is how powerful the governors are. So when we start getting it right by electing governors in the mood of P2B, governors in the mode of Abafemi Awolowo, governors in the mode of Dr. Michael Obara, governors in the mode of Lateef Jokonde, governors in the mode of Dr. Samuel Lombakwe, selfless governors that will use the resources of the state to build the state and work for the people. Nigeria will become a better place. I'm being honest with them. So it's an appeal. Whether the PDP or APC sign the peace agreement is their own cup of tea. If Edo people decide, and people are going to conduct election, I Edo people. So they need to decide for themselves. If you want to collect, I said it in Imo State in 2023 when they were playing games. Today, everybody is suffering it. Those who collected dollar to rig election are all sitting at home on Monday because we don't have any strength of character in terms of people in the government house to enforce security and make the people's life better. So this appeal to Edo people. There is no amount of bribe or a gunje that they can offer you that will allow you to become a tool in the hand of politicians to rig an election or allow them to foment trouble in such a way that there will be no free, fair, and government election in those states. Do the right thing. And not only that, God will bless you, the ancestors will also bless you. Thank you.
All right, sir. As a follow-up to that question, our particular concern is that this decision for these political parties not to sign the peace agreement, which is first of its kind in this country since the inception of democracy, seems not to be a step in the right direction. What I mean is that people are following this development. Don't you think people will leave the party and thereby allowing the political party to carry out activities they want? What's your thoughts?
I didn't hear the last question.
Okay, I just asked the decision for these political parties not to sign this peace agreement. Do you think it's to the electorate? Don't you think this can result in voters' apathy?
No, I don't think it will result in voters' apathy because we've seen people sign those agreements and they still go out there to go and snatch, grab and run. So it is not the first time. So those things are just ceremonial. The only people that can ensure free, credible, and fair election are Edo people. And they can do it. Edo, no, they carry last. They can do it. The policemen that will be posted to Edo State, the security men, the INEC officials, once they do what is right. The talks that will be hired, it is their own best interest not to allow themselves to be used. And the truth is, we can't continue this way. We've been on this path to perdition, to Golgotha since 1999. We've been stumbling from one incompetency to the other. Those states need to recharge and change course. And the opportunity for them to do it is in this off-cycle election. All eyes are on Edo State. Whether those guys sign the agreement, if the people of the state decide we want to have free, fair, and credible, they will host free, fair, and credible election. I say it to anybody who cares to listen. If you have 5 armed robbers in a room, 5 people in a room, and all 5 of them have AK-47, and 4 are good men, and one of them is an armed robber, he has AK-47. He has only one choice, either to drop that AK-47 and leave town, or if he tries to do the 4 will show him. But if you have 5 people in a room, and the 5 of them are armed robbers, are criminals, bloodletting criminals, and one is a good man, he has no choice than to leave the town for them, because he cannot continue. So Edo people, it's time for them to show that they are the same Edo people that will know. Don't allow anybody manipulate you. Use your hand and elect your governor. If you are among those in INEC, those working as ad hoc staff, security agent, whatever, do the right thing. Let the vote of the people count. Let Edo State be one of those states that will give them out Nigeria a governor that we can be proud of. After Edo, we can now move to other states.
Okay, sir. In the course of this conversation, you deliberately mentioned the APC and their candidate, Senator Monday Okpebholo. I would like to know if that is deliberate. And if
my brother, I want to be this blunt. Please, apologies to anybody I may offend in advance. I want to apologize in advance. The number of votes APC will get in Edo State will be determined by the number of ignorant people. In fact, let us face fact. A governor that have refused to host town hall meeting with the press, a governor that have deliberately dodged every avenue to answer question, a governor who at every point in time that is allowed to open his mouth demonstrated. Let me tell you, what happened in Nigeria in 2015 is an example of why nobody should make the mistake of electing such kind of people again. That was what Buhari did. Buhari, for whatever reason, avoided any press interview, avoided any chat. What they will manage to carry him to the podium. He will stand there, he will cough 3 times, koho. He will shout, fishy, fishy. They'll bring him down. At the end of the day, nobody had the opportunity of grilling him. And for 8 years, Buhari took Nigeria back 50 years. Whatever problem that Nigeria is grappling today, whatever shortcomings that most of the problems that the Tinubu government hated was what Buhari created. And I'm telling you, it will take Nigeria years to recover from the destruction Buhari and his gang brought upon Nigeria. If those state people want to go back to the pre-1960 era, they should vote for APC. Of course, I know Edo people don't vote for APC. What Edo people should simply do is to ensure that APC does not grab, snatch, and run with their mandate. As far as the election is concerned, there is no rational thinker. There is no honest person. There is no person who knows how to read 1 and 2, 3 to 10 that will vote the APC candidate. That is truth. Sorry, I apologize if I offended anybody.
It's okay, sir. The interesting thing is that these are actually your views, but again, in the field, we actually have people that are supporting APC for whatever reasons we don't know.
Then there is hunger in the land. For your information, according to the World Bank record, anybody who is on less than $64.50 a month income, or $2.15 a month income, which is equivalent of 104,000 naira income. Anybody on less than that income is actually said to be very poor. There is mass hunger and mass poverty in the land. I can bet you If Satan should come to Nigeria today to hold concert, millions of people will attend because they want to eat food. That is how terrible things are in the land. I'm not surprised that he has people supporting him. Of course, everybody, those supporting him have their reasons. But I'm very, very sure he don't need to carry last. People are very smart people. If there is any state that I'm proud of, I can say that is one state that have at least majority people whose heads are together is Edo people. And I'm sure they will not allow anybody mess up with their chances of taking their state further in the scheme of things. I can tell you, Aswa, I can tell you, between Aswe and the Audubeta Akpata, you have two competent guys who are qualified in their own rights to be good governors. But the only advantage of Olumide is his own man. Olumide is not going to engage in any fight with anybody who wants to control his government.
The concern right now is about the federal government not wanting to come and use their might in the elections. There's been some from the appointment of key officers. For instance, there are these speculations that the INEC officer has relation of Winky, and also the Commissioner of Police, also a relation of Winky. We all know the anticipation of Winky. Do you think this is a coincidence or there's a deliberate attempt to hijack the elections?
Let me tell you what you must understand. I'll give you an example, Abia State. Abia State, there was every attempt made to thwart the will of the people of Abia State. One woman, Dr. Nnenaya Oti, Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Togodo, even at the threat to her life, inducement of some amount of money that most people will even not blink an eye, they will collect. The woman stood before God and her conscience and said, I will not thwart the will of my people, of Abia people. And that is why today Alex Oti is the governor of Abia State, and Alex Oti is blazing the trail, one of the best performing governors in Nigeria. Whether they bring commissioner of police or from the moon, whether they bring hyenas to come and protect the election or to come and snatch it, let me tell you, those that will determine this election are the polling booth officers, the ward collection officers, the local government collection officers. If those are the polling booths, conduct free and fair election and refuse to alter results and transmit it to IRF, if you like, bring Idi Amin to come and breathe over their neck, he cannot change it. If those are the ward collection center, will stand up before God and man, not to change the result that is transmitted from local government. See, there's something people must understand, though. You know, some of this is when we say some of these things, we are not saying it because we are saying it out of sense. Some of us have been in a position where we looked eyeball to those who people think cannot be resisted and say we will not sign this. And heavens did not fall. I started my life as a lecturer, a grad I started in university. You cannot force me to change the result of any student that fails. Never. If you like, be VC, if you like, be whatever. Once I stand my ground, two things will happen. It's either you sack me, if you kill me, I will go to heaven. There's no two ways about it. There are 3 young men that were in Babylon when Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Israel and carried everybody. In that captivity, you had professors, you had billionaires, you had clergy, you had all manner of men, you had soldiers, you had people who you would think. But it took only 4 young men to say, we are not going to be part of this rubbish. They refused, even to the point of death. For the first time, they looked him in the eye. They used to call him Lord, Lord. They said, when they now knew that the guy wanted them to bend the rule, they said, oh, Nebuchadnezzar, look us in the eyes, we will not bow down. And at the end of the day, what happened? They triumphed. People must learn to stand for what is right. There's no amount of money that anybody can give to you that will make you. Do you know what is happening? Today in Nigeria, we have 197 million Nigerians under poverty, out of a population of about 220 million people. This 197 million people did not become poor because they want to be poor, but the circumstances and situation in the land had put them into poverty. They can't even meet their physiological need because some few people decided to switch off IREV and do hour of awareness. I don't think anybody in Edo State will want to be remembered, even when nobody's watching. If the ad hoc staff, if the ward collation officers, if the local government officers decide to do what is right, my brother, forget it. Nobody can change anything.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for that insight. Why we want to allow members of the audience to also questions with regards to the topic discussion tonight. I want to quickly ask you, sir, in the course of this discussion, you actually mentioned the influence of the political parties in the political space of Nigeria and how they have recorded the political activity because of their interest. I'd like you to throw more light on this, sir, before we begin to take questions from the audience.
I didn't hear the last question. Your line was breaking.
Sorry about that. I said in the course of this conversation, you actually mentioned the influence of parties in the political space and how
the influence of what?
Political parties.
Okay.
And how they try to influence the political activities to their own favor, for their own selfish benefit. I'd like you to throw more. I will wait for questions from the audience.
You see, the truth is, I say to anybody who cares to listen, when people say, oh, Mahmoud Yakubu betrayed us, he promised this, he switched off IRF, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you the truth. We must tell ourselves the truth, though. We have 176,000 people that participated at the polling units, 8,809 people that participated at the Ward Collection Center, and 717 at the local government, and then 36 at the state level. There was an election that was held in my state, in a particular local government area. Out of 11 wards, in 4 wards, results were not changed. What happened? The 3 girls that manned those wards refused. They refused money, they refused inducement, they refused any threat to their life. And they were very vehement. Till today, people talk about them. 3 young girls. So the truth is, irrespective of whatever inducement anybody can bring, irrespective of whatever threats, let me even tell you what I've discovered in life. Criminals actually fear men of integrity. Ask anybody. Criminals, do you know why today Ganifa Wewimi is respected even in death? Gani is one activist nobody could accuse of being compromised. He was very consistent. Why is people like Reverend Matthew Kuka being celebrated? They are not billionaires, they don't have mansions anywhere. Why do we celebrate people like Abadu Bello, people like Abtafa Beloa, people like Anthony Nahoro? They didn't live mansions. Let me tell you the truth. Anybody who understands what the value of humanity is, will not allow himself to be used to destroy others. So, irrespective of the games the politicians are playing, the onus is still on the rest on those that will participate in conducting this election. If they are able to muster courage and say, oh, to Nebuchadnezzar, won't allow your games to work, it will not work. You see, not visual photo. Nana is alive, basket. She's busy everywhere. Anything that is being done anywhere, people invite him. You see the way people celebrate her. People should think about legacy, think about tomorrow, think about good name. Everything is not about naira and kobo or dollar.
Actually overwhelm the selfish interest in the political space from the political parties. Noted, sir. I want to quickly ask you this, sir. The Edo people, a very large portion of the Edo people, be agitating about equity, fairness, and they believe that power should actually shift to the Edo Central at this time. And that is a major challenge for Barrister Olumide, considering the fact that he's from Edo State. Do you think this could also affect his chances?
The truth of the matter is, Edo people should decide what they want for themselves. If they want the Baba chair rotation that have never benefited anybody, or they want to do something that they know will help them move their state forward. I always point out to people who talk about this rotation and power circulating for everybody to have a taste of it. And I say, Katsina State has been privileged to have Yar'Adua as president for 3 years, Buhari as head of state for almost 2 years, and president for 8 years. Go to Katsina State today. Katsina State is one of the states most ravaged by banditry. Katsina State is one of the states that tops the ranks in terms of poverty. Katsina State is one of the states that have the highest illiteracy rates in Nigeria. Everything that has to do with the lowest rung of the Human Development Index can be discovered in Katsina State. But this is one state had head of state, even former chief of army staff under the senior Yar'Adua, that had President Buhari for 8 years and Yar'Adua for 3 years. If having political office in your region or in your state or in your location or your zone is what will guarantee good life for your people or for the whole state, how come Katsina State today is where they are today? It's because we chose, the whole clamor was power should go back to the north. Jonathan did not keep to his agreement. Rather than the north choosing the most qualified candidate, they chose a man who never added value to himself, a man who has always been an establishment person. And he took Nigeria 50 years. Edo people knows what is right. If they want to do Baba's wheelchair, like we have been doing in Nigeria without any progress, good for them. But for me, and I say to anybody who cares to listen, if I have 2 candidates before me, and that is for me, one is my brother. It is the turn of my family to produce governor. And the other one from another place. And I'm convinced within me that the other person will be for the benefit of the people more than my brother. I will close my eyes and vote for the other person. And that is for me. I don't believe in Baba's chair. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Question. What happen? The nature of the change that we have had in Nigeria is voting. Like you have said now,
I can't.
like you have and that's to be influencing a lot of voters' decision when it comes to casting their votes. Can you hear me, sir?
No.
Okay. I just said that while we are waiting for questions from the audience, I was asking your views on what way to go on voters' education, because like you have said now in the course of this conversation, there is hunger in the land, and most voters seems to be sitting towards getting what they can get with the election, and that, of course, is on the long run. So, what do you think can be done to change this narrative and begin to get this electorate think towards the proper direction in the interest of good governance?
I say to anybody who cares to listen, There is no man or woman who understands values and principles that will be swayed by hunger and some of the things we attribute to reasons why people misbehave. Some of us were not born with silver spoon. Some of us grew out of very humble background. But fortunately for us, we were raised by parents who had principles, who made us to understand that choices have consequences. And that is why where we come from, people will tell you, if you want to rig an election, don't go to their polling booth. And that is the truth. We weren't rich when these things were happening, but we stood by what was right. At a time, some people were even asking us, why do you resist rigging when you can collect money and move on? But that is the truth. So it is left for the people to, educate them, tell them, let them understand the implications. See, we've been in this cycle since 1999. There's nobody that was an adult or who understood left and right from 1999 till now that anybody should need even preaching or convincing not to collect money and do what is right. Because the more we continue doing these things, collect money, vote, the more we keep on imperiling ourselves and imperiling this land. So we need to talk to people, we need to beg them, we need to appeal to them. But they are above all things. Anybody who understands what values is, because most of us either claim to be Christians or Muslims. And I don't think any of the two faiths encourage people to collect bribe and to set their conscience. Let people make the right choices.
Very good, sir. To make the right choice as better. If there are questions from please, can you on the program? We're discussing the gubernatorial elections, overview of the contesting candidates and their chances in the elections. The elections just about 6 days away from them, and they are still contending PDP, the PC, and of course the party. So will there be any question for us on this tonight? No question for you, sir. So,
you say what?
Question for you from the audience.
What was the question?
There seems to be no question.
Okay. I think we have a very wonderful audience. They clearly understand the crux of the matter and what is required. I just pray God will help people to make the right choice.
We also pray so too, sir. We hope that
say what?
We hope so. We hope that people will go to make the right choice come September 21st, because what we actually anticipate and look forward to is good governance for our people, where they begin to have the breath of life. Now, this will be last advice. Did you hear the question, sir?
You said what?
I just asked, as we wind up the program, what will be your last advice to Edo people as they go into the elections?
Okay, my last advice to my good people of Edo State is the choice to move Edo State forward, the choice to take Edo State 50 years back is in their hand and in their ballot. I have no doubt that Olubida Akpata and Aswe Igodalo, these two candidates are more than qualified to be governor of Edo State. Aswe will make a good governor. Olumide will make an excellent governor. Both of them are ably and resoundingly qualified to govern Edo State. The only advantage Olumide has is Olumide is not beholden to any godfather, and there may not be any chance of him fighting or create the kind of fight that we are having in Rivers State today. So I just pray that God will help them to vote and protect their vote. They should be very watchful. They should be very vigilant. Cast your vote, stand to protect your vote. And for those who will be saddled with the assignment of conducting the election as INEC officials, both ad hoc and professional officials, and the police and the army and DSS, I want to appeal to them. Look at the way Nigeria is. Look at the way Nigeria is being run. Look at the suffering in the land. This is one so blessed by God. We have had good rulers from 1999 till now. We have been competing among the top 10 biggest economies in the whole world. With the kind of blessings God has blessed Nigeria, the kind of natural endowments and human capital we have here, we are not even supposed to have up to 1,000 people who are poor. And that is the truth. Sincerely, I am so convinced that this country will have been like Saudi Arabia or UAE, where you will never see any poor people, if we had used what God has blessed us to serve God and to serve humanity. Go out there in mass, vote and protect your vote. And for those who are charged with corrupt election and ensuring peace and order, please let there be peace, let there be free, fair, and credible election, and let God be glorified. Amen.
Thank you. That's been wonderful having you as our guest tonight. Clearly, from our conversation this evening, Edo State has just two choices to make between Barrister Olumide Akpata and Dr. Ighodalo. And we hope
yes,
that Edo State people understand this and be able to the right decision come September 21st, 2024, because it's a political election and the whole world is actually watching on the election. Thank you very much, sir, for being, and thank you for honoring our invitation a second time. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you very much, sir, and thank you, everybody, for your time this evening. Until we have this conversation again, it's good night. Have a good night.